We've detected unusual signals from grid section 7B on Mars, Dr. Phillips announced, his voice echoing through mission control. They seem to be emanating from the water discovery site. I watched from my station as my stepsister Amanda's face turned pale. She knew exactly what grid section 7B meant. It was where I had discovered the first evidence of liquid water before she had me removed from the project. My name is Olivia Parker, and 2 weeks ago, I was the lead signal analyst for NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Project. That was until Amanda, the newly appointed mission director, convinced the board I was emotionally unstable and unfit for such a critical position. The irony of the situation wasn't lost on me as I watched her frantically tap at her tablet, trying to make sense of the incoming data. The signals were unlike anything we'd seen before. Complex patterns that seemed to pulse in rhythm with the Martian water's subsurface movements. Dr. Foster, Amanda called out, her voice tight with barely controlled panic, "Can you make anything of these patterns?" The older scientist shook his head, his forehead creased with confusion. "These aren't standard electromagnetic frequencies. The algorithm isn't recognizing any known patterns." Of course it wasn't. The signals were encoded using a system I had developed specifically for the Mars Water Project, a system I hadn't shared with anyone yet when Amanda orchestrated my removal. I leaned back in my chair, remembering the day everything changed. I had just confirmed the presence of liquid water beneath the Martian surface using a specialized frequency detection method I'd spent years developing. It was the breakthrough we'd been waiting for, proof that Mars could potentially support life. "This is impossible," I had whispered, double-checking my readings. "Amanda, look at this." My stepsister had rushed over, her eyes widening as she saw the data. But instead of sharing my excitement, she had quickly composed herself and said, "I'll take it from here, Olivia. Why don't you take a break?" I should have known something was wrong by the way she couldn't meet my eyes. Within hours, she had called an emergency board meeting, presenting my discovery as her own while simultaneously questioning my mental stability. "Dr. Parker has been showing signs of extreme stress," she had told them, her voice dripping with fake concern. "She's been working excessive hours, seeing patterns where none exist. I'm worried she's becoming a liability to the mission." Now, watching the chaos unfold in mission control, I felt a strange sense of calm. The signals were getting stronger, more insistent. Whatever was happening beneath the Martian surface, it was trying to tell us something. "The frequency is changing," someone shouted. It's like it's responding to our probe's presence." Amanda spun around, her perfectly maintained composure finally cracking. "That's not possible. Run a full diagnostic on all systems." I knew what they would find. Nothing wrong with the systems, just an increasingly complex series of signals that only I could understand. The encoding method I developed wasn't just about detecting water. It was about understanding its behavior, its interaction with the Martian environment, and potentially its relationship with something we hadn't even imagined yet. "Ms. Parker." Dr. Phillips' voice cut through my thoughts. "You were working on signal analysis before your departure. Any insights?" Before I could respond, Amanda interrupted. "She's not authorized to access this data anymore. We'll figure it out ourselves." But the tremor in her voice betrayed her uncertainty. The stakes were too high now. This wasn't just about professional rivalry or family dynamics. This was about potentially the biggest discovery in human history. "Actually," I said, standing up slowly, "I think I might be able to help." I walked over to the main display, aware of every eye in the room following me. "Those patterns you're seeing, they're not random. They're encoded using a specialized algorithm I developed for the water detection project." The room fell silent. Amanda's face went from pale to red. "You never submitted any documentation about a new algorithm," she said accusingly. "I was going to," I replied calmly, "the day you had me removed from the project." Dr. Phillips stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overriding any political concerns. "Can you decode these signals?" I nodded, my heart racing despite my outward calm. "I can. But I'll need full access restored to my systems and complete autonomy in my analysis." "Absolutely not," Amanda protested. She's trying to manipulate the situation. But as if to punctuate my point, the signals suddenly intensified, creating patterns across every screen in mission control. The message was clear: something was happening on Mars, something unprecedented, and I was the only one who could understand what it was trying to tell us. Dr. Phillips looked at Amanda, then at me, then at the increasingly complex display of signals. His decision was visible on his face before he even spoke. Restore Dr. Parker's access. Full clearance immediately. As I sat down at my hold station, I could feel Amanda's glare burning into my back. But it didn't matter anymore. The truth was about to come out, and no amount of office politics or family drama could stop it. The signals from Mars continued their mysterious dance across my screen, and for the first time in 2 weeks, I allowed myself to smile. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about being exactly who you are, exactly when it matters most. Let's see what Mars is trying to tell us, I whispered, my fingers flying across the keyboard as I began to decode the message that would change everything. For the next 12 hours, I immersed myself in the signals while Mission Control buzzed with nervous energy around me. The patterns were more complex than anything I'd seen before, suggesting that whatever we discovered wasn't just water, it was something far more intriguing. Dr. Phillips, I called out, not taking my eyes off the screen. Look at this frequency modulation. The water isn't just present, it's moving in coordinated patterns. He leaned over my shoulder, his breath catching as he saw the data. This is unlike anything we've ever recorded on Mars. Amanda hovered nearby, trying to maintain her authority while clearly feeling it slip away. It's probably just subsurface geological activity, she said dismissively, but her voice lacked conviction. I pulled up a 3-dimensional model of the signal patterns. Now look at the regularity. These aren't random movements. There's a distinct sequence repeating every 47 minutes. The room fell silent as I manipulated the model, showing how the water's movement corresponded with the signals we were receiving. Years of research, countless nights spent developing my algorithm. It was all leading to this moment. The water, I explained, my voice steady despite my racing heart, seems to be flowing through what appears to be artificial channels. Artificial? Amanda scoffed. That's impossible. You're seeing what you want to see. Dr. Phillips held up his hand, silencing her. Continue, Dr. Parker. I brought up another screen showing the decoded signal patterns. These aren't just electromagnetic frequencies. They're carrying information, specific sequences that repeat and evolve. It's almost like what? Dr. Phillips leaned closer. Like a language, I finished quietly. The silence that followed was deafening. Amanda's face had gone from skeptical to ashen. She knew what this meant. If I was right, this wasn't just about finding water on Mars. This was about finding evidence of intelligent design, possibly even ancient Martian technology. We need to inform the board immediately, Dr. Phillips said, reaching for his phone. Wait. Amanda stepped forward. We can't go public with this yet. We need more verification, more tests. Like the verification you needed before removing me from the project? I asked calmly, never taking my eyes off the data streams. Before she could respond, new signals started pouring in. The patterns were changing, becoming more urgent. I frantically typed, trying to keep up with the incoming data. Something's happening, I announced, my fingers flying across the keyboard. The water movement is accelerating. The channels, they're activating in sequence. The main screen filled with streaming data, the patterns now visible to everyone in the room. Even those who couldn't decode the signals could see that something extraordinary was occurring. Dr. Parker, Dr. Phillips's voice was tense. What exactly are we looking at? I took a deep breath, knowing my next words would change everything. I believe we're watching an ancient Martian system reactivate. The water isn't just present, it's part of something bigger, some kind of mechanism that's been dormant until now. Amanda stepped forward, her composure finally cracking completely. You can't prove any of this. This is exactly why we removed you. These wild theories without proper evidence. Actually, I interrupted, pulling up my original research files. I can prove it. These are my complete findings from before you had me removed, including preliminary evidence of the channel system. Evidence you buried when you took credit for the water discovery. The room went completely still. Every eye turned to Amanda, who stood frozen, her face a mask of shock and growing horror. Is this true? Dr. Phillips asked her quietly. Before she could respond, the signals suddenly intensified. New patterns emerged, more complex than before. I leaned forward, my heart pounding as I decoded them in real time. The system, I said, my voice barely above a whisper, It's not just channels. It's a network. An entire underground network of interconnected waterways, and it's all coming online. The implications were staggering. This wasn't just a natural phenomenon. This was technology, ancient Martian technology, awakening after who knows how many millennia. How long have you known about this? Dr. Phillips asked Amanda, his voice hard. She stumbled over her words. I just thought. She didn't know, I said, finally turning to face them. She saw the water discovery data but didn't understand what it meant. She couldn't decode the signals, couldn't see the patterns. That's why she needed me gone, because she knew I was close to something big, but she couldn't figure out what it was. Dr. Phillips straightened up, his decision clear on his face. Amanda, you're suspended pending a full investigation. Dr. Parker will be resuming her position as lead analyst, effective immediately. Amanda opened her mouth to protest, but at that moment, the signals pulsed again, stronger than ever. Everyone's attention snapped back to the screens, where Mars was telling us its ancient story, one decoded signal at a time. I settled back into my chair, a mix of vindication and excitement coursing through me. This was bigger than Amanda's betrayal, bigger than office politics or family drama. This was about uncovering secrets that had waited millions of years to be found. Let's see what else Mars has been hiding, I murmured, diving back into the data streams. The truth was finally emerging, and I was the only one who could understand its language. 1 month after the initial signal detection, I stood before the International Space Science Committee, presenting our findings. The room was packed with the world's leading scientists, all eagerly leaning forward as I revealed what we discovered beneath the Martian surface. The network, I explained, gesturing to the holographic model floating above the stage, spans approximately 300 square kilometers. It's an interconnected system of channels, chambers, and what appear to be processing stations, all designed to move and potentially purify water. The audience sat in stunned silence as I showed them the animated sequence of the network's activation. The blue lines representing water flow pulsed rhythmically, following patterns we were still working to fully understand. Most remarkably, I continued, the system appears to be self-maintaining. It has mechanisms for preventing freezing, filtering sediment, and even redirecting flow based on pressure changes. The engineering is, well, it's beyond anything we've ever seen. From the corner of my eye, I could see Amanda sitting in the back row. She'd been demoted to research assistant after the investigation revealed the full extent of her deception. Her attempt to steal my discovery had backfired spectacularly, leading instead to the biggest breakthrough in Mars exploration history. Dr. Parker, one of the committee members, leaned forward. What are the implications of this discovery? I smiled, pulling up new data on the display. Beyond proving the existence of ancient Martian civilization, the technology itself could revolutionize how we approach water management on Earth. The filtration systems alone are centuries ahead of our current capabilities. The questions flew fast after that. How old was the system? Preliminary dating suggested at least 300,000 years. Was it still fully functional? Remarkably, yes, though we were still learning its capabilities. Could we replicate the technology? We were already working on it. After the presentation, Dr. Phillips found me in the hallway. Outstanding work, Olivia, he said, beaming with pride. NASA's approved your proposal for a dedicated research team. You'll have full autonomy and resources to continue studying the network. Thank you, I replied, still somewhat overwhelmed by how much had changed. There's so much more to learn. The signals, they're not just about water management. I think they're trying to tell us something about the civilization that built this. And you'll be the one to figure it out, he said confidently. By the way, your sister requested a transfer to the Jupiter program. I nodded, feeling a strange mix of emotions. Amanda's betrayal had hurt, but in the end, it had led to something extraordinary. Sometimes, I said, people's worst intentions can lead to the best outcomes. Later that evening, as I sat in my new office overlooking the NASA campus, I received an unexpected email from Amanda. Olivia, I know it's too late for apologies, but I want you to know that I understand now. I was so focused on advancement that I couldn't see the bigger picture. What you've discovered, it's changed everything. Not just for science, but for me too. I've learned a hard lesson about integrity and recognition. Amanda. I didn't reply immediately. Instead, I turned to my monitors, where the Martian signals continued their ancient dance. The network was still revealing new secrets every day, each discovery more fascinating than the last. Just yesterday, we'd found what appeared to be a control room, its systems still operational after hundreds of thousands of years. My phone buzzed with a message from Dr. Phillips. Meeting tomorrow at 900. Bringing in international teams. Your discovery is changing the future of space exploration. I smiled, watching the signal patterns pulse across my screen. The water network wasn't just a technological marvel. It was a message from an ancient civilization, proving we weren't alone in our quest to understand the universe. Amanda's betrayal had nearly derailed everything, but in the end, the truth had found its way to the surface, just like the water flowing through those ancient Martian channels. Sometimes the path to discovery isn't straight or fair, but if you stay true to your work and trust in your abilities, the universe has a way of revealing its secrets to those who can truly understand them. I turned back to my computer and began typing a reply to Amanda. The signals are getting stronger. There's still so much to learn. Maybe it's time we all started listening more carefully to Mars and to each other. The future stretched out before me, filled with possibilities I had only dreamed of. Mars was speaking to us, and I was ready to listen.